Hey, I'm that one dude with the face. And over the last week and a half, I've been on some antibiotics that are kind of just kicking my butt, so I haven't been playing a whole lot. Been spending a lot of time on the couch or just not doing anything because I have no energy. I should be done those this Thursday and hopefully I'm getting back to normal, but it's just been a rough week. In the bit that I did play, on Tuesday I logged in on my warrior and grabbed my mythic boots out of my vaults. I'm actually happy I got these because the boots were the last thing that I needed to upgrade and they were like champ track or something. So upgrading them to a mythic track boot was awesome. So that plus the item level increase from the ring this week brought me up to 632.75. So I got just a little over 2 item levels of an increase this week. I didn't have the energy to run any Mythic Plus, and I don't know if I will run a whole lot more for the rest of the season. There's not really much of a point. I'm decently geared. Maybe I'll jump on some alts and maybe get them some more gear. But on my warrior, I think I might just leave it here until Season 2 and then do a lot more in Season 2 and try to get my best in slot items that season. For the most part, I was doing stuff that just didn't require a lot of thought, and I could just throw on a movie and just zone out. So I got a little over halfway done the Necrolord campaign on my warrior, and I'm hoping to finish that up maybe this week. I'm debating whether or not I want to finish that campaign and go do the other 2 that I have left and then come back and do all the other achievements, or if I want to complete all the Necrolord achievements and then go do the other Covenant and then the one after that. There's probably less anima transfer and just annoying stuff to have to go through if I just do all of Necrolord at once, so I might just go that way, but I'm just still thinking about it. I ran Dragon Soul a bunch of times this week while I was on my alts, and I actually ran it on my rogue, and I started the legendary questline on him. I figured it's best to get this out of the way so that hopefully one day if I ever get the Blazing Drake from this place, I'll have the legendary and then I can actually stop running this forever. I did up to the point where I need to now run Dragon Soul every week and get the fragments or whatever they're called. So many weeks of farming Dragon Soul left to do, but while I'm in there anyway, may as well get a legendary. I know last week I said I wasn't going to level any alts, but because of the Turbulent Timeways thing, there's an achievement associated with that, so I jumped on my priest and got him the buff, and then I'll just keep running a dungeon every week on him to get the 5 stacks, whatever you need to do for the achievement. In the span of 4 or 5 dungeons, I think it was, I got him from 72 to 78 though, and I'm pretty sure he'll be able to get 80. If I play him a little bit this week, I'll probably do it this week. If not, he'll definitely get 80 by the time this event is over. I also realized my rogue is actually 76 as well, so I might push him as well to 80 and get those 2 out of the way while this event is going on. I talked about in Mop Remix how I didn't enjoy Priest because I felt like something was missing. And I don't know if they changed something or if I'm just like getting better at the class or what, but I really enjoy healing on this Disc Priest. And I kind of want to replace my Shaman with this Priest for healing. Because Shaman is just like chaotic and there's so many buttons and it's just kind of overwhelming, whereas Priest is just like awesome. So I don't know, we'll see when he gets to 80 how I feel, but he might be my Season 2 healer. The other half of my time this week was spent working on the profession achievements that I was talking about last week. I looked through them all to see what I was missing and how to get them, and these achievements are kind of tedious and kind of hard to get. So that kind of sucks, but I figure, again, just throw on something on the other monitor, don't really pay attention, and just go farm stuff, so that shouldn't be too hard, it's just, again, tedious. But I'll start talking about the achievements that I did get so far. So I started off by doing Alchemy. I did the Powerful Concoctions achievement 1 through 4, which is to craft up to 1500 elixirs, flasks, or vials. That took like an hour or so to finish from 0 to 1500, so I just, again, put on a movie while I was doing that and just watched that while that was happening. And when I finished that, I did a Cure for All Ails 1 to 4, which is to craft up to 2000 potions. From there, I worked on getting my Classic Alchemy to level 300, and that got me the Working from the Start achievement, which is to get 2 Classic Professions to max level. And then once I got that, I was able to get the Look Your Specialized achievement, which is just to pick an alchemy specialization. Leatherworking had a pretty easy achievement called That's Just Cruel, which is to kill Nefarian in Blackwing Lair and Blackwing Descent while wearing an Onyxian cloak. I might focus a little bit more on the Gathering Professions this week because those seem a little bit easier and it's just a matter of farming stuff, so that'll be pretty easy, and plus I can make some gold out of it too. Other than that, I got one more achievement, which was the Fate of the Kirin Tor, which was the questline for Khadgar this week. With that complete, that brought me back up to 100% for all War Within quests, so heading into Season 2, I'll just have to focus on the new stuff that comes out. With all those, I was able to get 75 more points, so I'm ending the week at 43,185 points. For mounts this week, I picked up a few more, starting with the Jeweled Copper Scarab, which is from the Trading Post. From Mop Time Walking, I was able to get the Copper-Maned Quillen, which I absolutely love these models, and this one is so nice. I love the wings on this, and it's just such a nice mount. And then lastly, for getting Renown 70 with Necrolord, I got the Regal Corpsefly for 7,500 anima. Today, Plunderstorm comes back, and I think it only lasts like a little over a month, which I'm surprised they only had it for that long. I'm personally not a big fan of Plunderstorm. It wasn't really my style of play, but I know that a lot of people loved it, so I'm happy for all you guys. If you've never played it before, or if you're looking for a refresher, I did make a video last April Fool's, which I think is kind of funny, explaining how Plunderstorm works, but by using drawings on a piece of paper. I rewatched it this weekend and it did still crack me up, so if you're looking for even just something funny to watch, maybe watch that. It is an actual explanation, it just doesn't show any gameplay, so hopefully it helps. But in other news, because I was knocked out most of this week, I did watch a bunch of movies. I'm not going to go over all of them. I was looking for some time story stuff, and I ended up watching Looper, which was kind of not what I expected and not that great. And I watched Tenet as well, which just confused the absolute hell out of me. I don't know if it was a good movie or a bad movie. It just was. And then also I started going through all of Adam Sandler's movies. I'm up to the early 2000s, which I've seen most of these movies except for a few. The Wedding Singer is a movie that I thought I'd watched, but I guess I haven't seen the whole thing because I watched it this past weekend and it was so good. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know how your week went. What are you up to in game, or what's going on in your life? Let me know in the comments if you're excited for Plunderstorm or what you thought of it the first time it came around. I'm really curious to see what people here think about it. But until next week, thank you so much for watching. Love you lots. I'll talk to you later.